Nanaimo, citizens of Nanaimo, we are about to begin our morning event. Thank you. My name is Bill Yoachim. It's an honor to be asked to MC a necessary day, heavy day, but important day. Hi, Sebka. As we wait to begin, there's chairs for elderly preferred. Thank you. So please use elderly from wherever. Thank you. Today is the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, where there's going to be hard subjects, real subjects, necessary subjects. For all the audience, whether you're Indigenous or non-Indigenous, I want to just point out the gentleman in the white hat and his colleague with a black glove, and another. They're Nanaimo wellness counselors from our health center, so if you need to have a debrief or a break or this, for whatever reason, they're here for you on this heavy day. Thank you. I'd like to thank Brother Paul and the dance group for bringing in our guests, dignitaries. I'd like to thank everyone that came out today for this day. The Indian problem, wrenching away from their parents to civilize them in residential schools. Until they're 18, was believed to be a sure way of achieving the government's goal. Our objective is to continue until there is not a single Indian in Canada. Take the Indian out of the Indian. Duncan Campbell Scott, 1913 to 1932, the head bureaucrat. His goal is simulation. It's rippled down to effects to today, unfortunately, as we stand here in 2021. National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Oh God, let's get this thing fixed, please. Truth and reconciliation. It may have different meanings for everyone here, of all you fine folks that came out today and showed the day of importance to each and every one of you. And for my Nanaimo relations who sitting right in front. The truth is, genocide happened to our peoples. The truth is, genocide happened to our peoples. Reconciliation. Reconciliation, which we've heard now, the truth of minutes of Senator Sinclair's commission previously for too many years now, is reconciliation. The first step of reconciliation would be acknowledging the truth. The day is truth and reconciliation. So we can all get to the point of accepting the truth, then reconciliation can begin and will begin and has begun by standing here today. I can feel your guys' love and support for our peoples across this country and here in our Nanaimo territory. At this time, I'd like to call up a man of many gifts we're really fortunate to have in our community. I'd like to call upon our Nanaimo elder, Gary Manson, who's going to open the day up with a prayer. Hi, Sepka. Please welcome Elder Gary.
Nanaimo and the manat is reconciliation cannot appointment and come up articles on Sitla Saminis Yoachim Betuya Shishets Land at all swallowing this you respected elders, respected relatives, respected visitors, respected dignitaries from our band and from the city of Nanaimo. My traditional name is called Seymour and I am from Nanaimo. I am the child of Sathikalat and Tutinad. I am connected to the village of Chemanis Bay, Shell Beach, Victoria, and Shisha through the lineage of my parents. Let you know who I am. I wanted you to hear our language and how our protocol used to be before the residential school came and took that away. I'm very grateful for the amount of people here today to recognize that ugly history that may clear a path for a better life for our people. As a residential school survivor, it means a lot to me. My granddaughter stands beside me. And this was the future. These are the ones that are going to take the reins, who are going to hang on to the things that were lost during that time period. A lot of our languages on the BC coast are on the verge of extinction. And I encourage all of our young people, I know you're curious about where you come from. And I want you to know your medicine to me when I see our young people learning about our culture. My hands off to the drummers today, who are always showing our young people how we used to be. I want to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge you. Take that. I want to honor our Carver. We're honoring today. He's marking our territory today. That pole tells a story of how we're connected to everything. And I wanted you to understand it means a whole lot to our people to start this new history for our people. Grateful to be here today to start our day off with a song. It's called Titiwatl, which means working together in mind and spirit. It was born with thinking about our ancestors and us that are still here walking in mind. see who will slack at the table and the oh, hell, see who he is a melching. Eat and move straight to the Sheila, eat and the will. Eat will in the slack and strong in the will. Oh, hell, see who moves, say what opposite and the will. Eat the books will.
Thank you, Gary. At this time, can we please take a moment of silence to remember and honor those lost, but also those survivors? Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call upon a leader who I truly believe the Creator has put us here, today, for today. He's a man that will guide our people, all peoples, Indigenous or non, through these trying times. He has, and he'll continue to do so. And I'm pleased, may I please welcome, call upon proudly our Chief of Snuneymuxw, Chief Mike Wyse, please. Thank you.
Siemna schwacha splitterten Wyse-Seward. Siemna Shonik, Hulquiminum, Titala, Wyse-Seward. The Dustin, Ay Malcolmson, Climate, Doing, Titala, Wyse-Seward. Asiam, Siemna Sheila, Siemna Solchwan, Siemna Schwalakwa, Siemna Spongwa. At the pack, Hulquiminum, not Nanaimo. First of all, I just want to welcome you all to our ancient village site here in Nanaimo. One time our people lived at this very location they called home. Really honored to stand here before you today. I thank you all for taking the time to come and share this morning with us. Morning to the City of Nanaimo, Nanaimo Ladysmith School District, distinguished guests and participants who are here today. I want to welcome you to Snuneymuxw territory. Once again, thank you to my dear uncle, Al Siebel, for the opening prayer, for sharing a song, for starting us off in a good way today. We gather here today to take a moment and reflect on a history of pain, sorrow, hope, strength, and resilience. To take a moment to reflect on the feelings of our people and how we can move forward together. So I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your life to stand with our Snuneymuxw people and all Indigenous peoples, showing your support for the survivors of residential school and Indian hospitals and the ancestors who perished carrying these tremendous burdens. I encourage you to take a moment to truly and meaningfully reflect on why we are gathered here this morning. Imagine your children forcefully torn away from you at a very young age and deposited at a residential school. Where they were often subject to all kinds of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual abuses in order to try remove our culture and way of life. All of them violently forbidden to speak their own language. So were left behind in unmarked graves. Others were put to rest at the end of their life quietly, carrying these experiences in their hearts and minds. These residential schools went on for centuries until the late 1990s. The Nanaimo Indian Hospital operated in our territory, which was located adjacent to Vancouver Island University. At this Indian hospital, our people were subject to inhumane healthcare treatments. Our people were treated as experiments for sterilization and tortured. These are the experiences that live within our people. And these are the causes as to why Snuneymuxw people distrust the BC healthcare system and why it needs an immediate overhaul to become relevant and culturally appropriate. For generations now, to this day, Snuneymuxw people walk through life carrying these burdens without acknowledgement and denial of these violent experiences of our history. This history is passed down to our young people, causing intergenerational trauma within our families and community. But today is a day filled with encouragement. All of you gathered here this morning to tell the survivors and ancestors, we see you. We acknowledge you and we honor you now and forever. I want to thank each and every one of you for standing in solidarity, supporting the truths of our people and standing in unity with an unwavering commitment to the resolutions that lie ahead. Urging Canada to bring forward meaningful, long-lasting, immediate, and robust justice for their actions. And supporting a path of healing and peace. The road to truth and reconciliation also brings a sense of hope, strength, perseverance, resiliency, and unity. The work ahead of us undoubtedly will be challenging, but overdue and necessary. We must undo the shackles to colonial ways of thinking, actions, laws, and policies that are the cause of inequity, injustice, and imbalance within society and between peoples, and reinforce respect for Indigenous cultures, rights, and titles. This is a fundamental way you can all restore hope and unity for the children, grandchildren, and those unborn. I want to also share with you the Snuneymuxw pole that you see here today. This pole is carved by my brother Wyse-Seward, and the tree was donated by Mosaic. It is a powerful, symbolic cultural expression and reminder of the responsibility everyone has the journey of truth and reconciliation. Not today, but every day. Moving forward in a good way, binding us together to these commitments with unity and a shared understanding provides an opportunity for us to heal together, to stand tall together, and make things right for our future generations. For that, on behalf of our Snuneymuxw, I want to thank you all.
Thank you, brother. At this time, I please welcome and call upon the Mayor of the City of Nanaimo, Mayor Leonard Krog. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I firstly want to recognize where we are. We are gathered on the traditional territory of the Snuneymuxw First Nation. And I want to express my gratitude to all of you who have chosen to come out today to honor the victims and the survivors of the residential school system, to recognize Orange Shirt Day, and I would like to think to build a much more inclusive community of which we can all be proud. I want to also thank all of the staff from the school board, School District 68, and the City of Nanaimo, Snuneymuxw First Nation, who have been working very hard for many days to make this event possible. Some of whom were up early this morning to ensure that we could gather here in comfort. So what does an old white guy say on Orange Shirt Day? Child of privilege, to some extent. Someone who learned a history of this country that is now unraveling my understanding of it. We learn things along the way, all of us. I think of the whole concept that North America was discovered. The indigenous peoples who occupied both continents from one tip to the other were here. They didn't feel discovered. When we talk about historical figures, white historical figures, I'm reminded of Alexander Mackenzie, who's given credit for being the first man, and I emphasize that's the way it was phrased, not person, the first man to cross Canada by land. And of course, how did he get to the West Coast? Well, in the land we now call British Columbia, it was really kind of simple. The indigenous peoples sent him along the famous Grease Trail, which was a trade route established for hundreds of years. But I wasn't taught that in school. I learned that later. And so as I stand here on this stage today, with Charlene McKay, the chair of School District 68, and Chief Wyse, and Noel, the Carver, who's given us that magnificent welcoming poll. I'm reminded of how difficult this is for people to reconcile their image of this country, their belief in the essential goodness of this nation. As someone who has had the honor and privilege to speak here on Canada Day many times, I was always more hopeful that we would see more of the Indigenous people out. But you have to ask yourself, why would you come if you are not recognized, your history, the residential school system, isn't understood? Why would you feel part of a day to celebrate a nation that you have seen through different eyes, that for you is a much different experience? This country, colonialism, was always about really one thing. It was about the land. And when the Europeans came, the Indigenous peoples had the land. That's what it was about. For many of them, they were escaping what I will call oppressive systems based on aristocracy, not based on merit, governed by people they didn't vote for or elect or choose. And when they came, they prospered, but the people who were here first didn't. And so today we need to recognize that Canada has a history, but it has a past as well. And by gathering here in the amazing numbers that we are today, you give me some faith and hope that we can build that better country that I was taught to believe in, that I experienced in a different way than many of you. And I must acknowledge on behalf of my city that your experience, and I'm speaking to the Indigenous peoples who are gathered here today, your experience was different. And it was not a good experience for many people. But I am hopeful, as the school district is here in this stage, as I mentioned earlier, working hard to teach everyone in this community, our young, our hope for the future, teaching them the real history, the full history of this province, of this country, then I have to think of this on one level as a horribly sad day. No one can hear the stories of residential schools and not be moved by it. The concept that your very own children would be taken from you, treated in ways that are so foreign to what we think of about this country. It is a horrible thing. But at the same time, I am here amongst many people, and I see something positive, and I want to end on a positive note. We have a tremendous opportunity when we gather in numbers like this to exchange our views, to touch one another, to reach out. But I think it is important that much has been said, but what is important is that much remains to be done. Much remains to be done. But I am confident and I am optimistic for two very good reasons as I stand here today. My old friend Rose Scow over there, who's not that shy of reaching 100 years of age, a survivor of the residential school system, who didn't have a choice where she was educated. I contrast with my friend Councilor and Joseph, holding her firstborn and ripe in that amazing beauty with her second due in a few weeks. Her and her husband Josh will decide where that child goes to school. I think there is much to be positive about on a day that is of incredibly mixed emotions for all of us. but I look forward to a future where we will celebrate this country and what we have built together, conscious of our past, trying to compensate and reconcile, but making a better country for all of us where everyone feels welcome and valued and important. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming out today in the numbers that you have. This speaks well of this community. It is why I'm so proud to be mayor of it. It's why I'm so delighted to see so many of you here, and all of my councilors, with one exception, who's traveling. Bless you all for coming. Let us move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Krog. At this time, I please call upon School District 68 Chair McKay. Thank you.
Wyse-Seward, Yoachim, Nusiaya, Siam Shkolakwa, Siam Salkwan. Good day, all my respected friends, relatives, and elders. This is a humbling day for me. I'm honored at the privilege and invitation that I've been provided to speak to you on the first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. As we're gathered here, our hearts and minds, they feel burdened. Most of us are thinking of the children that have been waiting so long for us to discover them so that they can come home. We're thinking of our families and our relatives that have suffered. And that's a heavy feeling as we gather here today. Most especially to the elders who will be brave today to share their stories with us. Hi, Sepka. Mr. Leach, Sep. I love you. Thank you so much. These are important times for us to hear from you, and we're honored to listen. My Snuneymuxw family. Our school district family will stand beside you always in unity and harmony. We'll listen to understand with Wyse-Seward and allow the knowledge and stories that you share with us to guide our work each and every day as we make decisions for the children. We've all come together today, and the connection between each of us as the emotions run deep is very strong. We must embrace that connection and compel ourselves with complete determination to move forward so that the world can be a better place. We have an obligation to the ancestors, the future generations, and most importantly to the children of today, to educate with care, compassion, and with love in our hearts. We absolutely must challenge the narrative and bias, because those assumptions that have been created by the traumatic legacy of residential schools and government-sanctioned hospitals that segregated and harmed Indigenous peoples for far too long. Further, together we must heal the earth. The earth has been there to care and heal and protect us for generations, since the beginning of time. And it's our turn to care for her and undo the harm that's been done. One of the most important things that I could say today is that we have an obligation to constantly recommit ourselves to revitalizing the Hulquiminum language. It's a beautiful language that should be spoken by many, many people for generations. We must restore what was taken by residential schools. And we have to act and work on that every day, each of us, Indigenous or non-Indigenous. As I look around today, I see strength, resiliency, humility, and love. The connection between us today makes me see family throughout everyone who's here today. I'm incredibly grateful to see so many people here. It was my deepest hope that this park would be full, and that's what I see before me. Whether today is your first time coming to think about truth and reconciliation and what that means for you, or whether you've been on this path for a while and you're looking into yourself to say, what are my actions going to be next for truth and reconciliation? Because action is what we must do together. I welcome you to join us in Siaxis together, walking together with our relatives, so that we can make a difference and make the world a better place. Hai sabka siya.
Hi, Charlene. At this time, may I please call upon MLA Sheila Malcolmson. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Uncle, for the prayer. I'm honored to be on Nanaimo territory today, and grateful to the elders who are here holding space. Thankful to the chief for your strong words. I think of Brother Bill Yoachim back to 2001 when we were both sitting at the treaty table here in Nanaimo in Coast Bastion Hotel. The energy, the attitude, the racism, and the conflict, it didn't feel possible to me that we would have 20 years later a day like today. So I thank everybody who's come, everybody who's standing together shoulder to shoulder in solidarity and strength, and bringing your good spirit and your healing energy at a time that we talk about unspeakable, what for a long time was unspeakable losses and genocide against the original peoples of this beautiful country, people that welcomed us here with good hearts and friendship, and that was betrayed in the most horrific way, and the continued revelation of the stories, things that were too painful to speak about. I feel every day the bravery of the survivors, and I am so sorry to those who have passed, who didn't get to be standing together at a day like today to see that we are working towards a new chapter. We have a lot of work to do. I think especially from that time when we were at the treaty table, I'm thinking of the women, especially of my auntie and friend Geraldine Manson, Sandy, the late Jeff Thomas, how you kept coming back to Gabriola. You heard my neighbors say terrible things about what would happen if we gave the land back. And you were patient and you were strong, and the attitude has changed completely. You did the work, harder work than I can ever imagine, and it changed people's minds. And you now have a lot of friends, as we can see, that are standing together for right relations. I give thanks for that strength and that spirit. I give thanks now to Chief, to all of your council, but I'm thinking especially of my friend Emmy Manson, to be a young woman in leadership. She's on the board of Vancouver Island University. She's been one of the leads on fighting COVID and keeping people safe from from overdose and addiction. There's so much work from the heart that happens, incredible strength in Snuneymuxw women. And I think, as the mayor has acknowledged, I've been at a few tables with Councilor and Joseph. It seems when there are big things happening in the community, then a birth is close at hand. We're sitting at the treaty table, and Mary Ellen Turpel-Lafont is saying, "Come on, Minister, hurry up. We need to wrap this work up because there's a baby that's soon to be born." You know, so on a sad day, I think of the strength of the leaders we have in our community right now, the resilience and the power of their aunties and mothers and fathers and grandparents who cared for them, that despite the interruption of parenting, that they are here, they are strong, they're changing our community. And I'll say that my final thought on a day like today is the legacy of the late Chief Viola Wyse, an incredible woman who died in service at her desk, but not without leaving the partnerships that we see exhibited today. She signed protocol agreements with the City of Nanaimo, with Vancouver Island University, with the RDM, with the Islands Trust, with, I think it took some time for the Port Authority work to come, but I see Michelle Corfield here today, and I know that you brought that work home along with Chief Mike Wyse, carrying on the strength of his mother. And so that work of that woman leader from Snuneymuxw is what has knit this community together in a way that we will, it has changed Nanaimo, and it means that when bad news comes, like the revelations at Kamloops, the work ahead of us on Nanaimo Indian Hospital, it means when hard things happen, because of the legacy of the late Chief Viola Wyse, we have these friendships and partnerships that will never be torn apart. I'm so grateful to the school district, to the city, to all of us for standing together. I'm so honored to be standing with you, with my Snuneymuxw family. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Nanaimo, for being here today.
Thank you, Sheila. Before I call upon our next speaker, the amazing artist that created that beautiful piece we all can see, I'd just like to acknowledge and thank Sheila for her first action of Reconciliation Day, is acknowledging the Gabriel lands, and we look forward to that transfer ASAP. At this time, I'd like to call upon my brother, Noel Brown, to share a few words on the podium.
Yeah, I was looking for my son. I couldn't see him up here. Marvin, where are you? Marvin, get up here. Yeah, come on. Marvin. And Michelle. Yeah, he's coming, he's coming. I'll see him, that's Falmouth. I'll see him, I'll see him, the qualify, and the pat your teeth up, and eat up, Snuneymuxw. My name's Noel Brown, this is my wife Tammy, my youngest boy, our youngest boy Richie, our oldest boy Marvin, my sister Michelle. I always take the credit and I don't mind, but this time I'd like for you guys to see who really worked full-time with me and made it easy and smooth and fun and kept me working, not slacking. All right, thank you. And I'm just so proud to be a tiny little part of this day, and I'm sad about the little babies, the school survivors. I see my uncles out front here, my aunties. And I just want to say I'm very proud, and I hope you guys like it. And it's my job to do the carving. I don't tell the story of the pole, so I'd like to call my dad up to tell the story of the pole for me.
Come on up, Chief. Oh, Blake. I forgot Blake. You mean worker, you mean he'll come up. So come on up, Chief. Blake, where are you? Oh, here. Come on up, Blake. Hope you guys like the poll.
Hulquiminum! We're going to say Hulquiminum. Yeah, it's you. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Tam. Thank you, Blake. These are all his support staff that work, help with the poll. Rain, shine, sleet, heat. They work. Thank the city, thank the school district, thank all the people that supported them and stood them up. I'd like to say special condolences to the residential school children. Wish they were here. So proud of Noel. Remember the first day he quit, swore at him upside one side, down the other side. Swore at him night and day for about 3 days. He's a top framer, building homes. And Tammy said, no more. I want him to stay home. I want the kids to see him. I want the kids to grow up with a father. I want him with a job at home. I said, well, what the hell are you going to do? He said, we're going to carve. I said, Carver, what the hell is that? So I take it back in front to show his beautiful job, him and his children, his families, his newfound friends and families. It's going to tell a history. It's going to hold the healing, lessen the pain that's inside us. Lessen the pain. Where it's bearable. That's what they did today. What he did today. Yeah, the city. The education system. It's going to take all of us. We're as a family. What's the character of where you live? Be proud, be happy, make it safe. Everybody deserves an education, everybody deserves a job. I want to thank Noel and congratulate him, and especially Tammy. Tammy's my wife, Johnny, where's Johnny? She did all the editing. And I tried like heck to stay, but here's my presentation. I got it hit me in my chest. But I want to thank Noel. Thank each and every one of you coming out. Thank my nephew for doing the MC job, beautiful job. Thank you. Thank you all the elders. Thank you to the young kids. Thank you to the children for coming out and open your ears, open your heart. Welcome. This is your town. This is Nanaimo, the mayor, education, everybody. It's our town. Take care of it with love, kindness, forgiveness, generosity. Help each other, stand with each other, walk with each other. Thank each and every one of you in the school district for standing me and my family up, thanking my wife joining up. Untitled Chapter, Ay Lelum, to learn Hulquiminum.
Hey, thanks everyone, and we can all get along. Hey, thanks everyone.
Let's hear it one more time for Noel, Uncle Jerry, and family for bringing us together as one from the walking pole. Heichka, brother. I'd like to thank the speakers. I can see us reconciling the energy, going the right way. This is what we need to be, lots of laughter and humor as one. At this time, I'd like to call upon our elder from Snuneymuxw to share a few words. I'd like to call upon Auntie Lolly Good, please, and her supports. Let's have a please warm welcome for Auntie.
Siemna sochwen, Siemna sietja, Siemna spalakwa, Enthamana at, Schreitzeston, and Caroline Good, the Pet, Schreitzelwit, Lolly Tennis, Juanita Martin Squish, Tenisan at Snuneymuxw, Equamlo at Shishat. Chief, Mayor, I acknowledge you today. It took me going on 7 years before I could even talk about residential school. It is my belief now that it is true. The more you talk about what's bothering you, it is healing. Truth and reconciliation. I honor all the residential school survivors who found the courage to speak. They talked about the horror and brutality that they suffered while attending the residential schools. To my knowledge, I'm a fourth-generation residential school survivor. My grandmother, my mother, my father, myself. My children are the fifth. I say my children because I pass all my suffering on to them. What I can say to the governments: be kind and do the right thing. Being a fourth generation residential school survivor, I suffered mentally, emotionally, physically, abandonment, and rejection. Somehow, I was able to express my lost soul in writing. Finding Nemo. No, not Nemo. Nemo in this right is me. Nemo was a dysfunctional lost fish. She perceives that she lived in an overcrowded fishbowl. She swam through her infant life with much uncertainty and discontent. Her youthful life endured raging waves of tribulation and despair, leaving her with major anxiety, low self-esteem, and feeling rejected. Her teens were unbearably confusing. This included battles of the mind, unhealthy choices, loneliness, and loss of identity. Her adult life was unrelenting. Alcohol became her choice, to drink when sad or to drink to celebrate. This left her with shame, resentment, heartache, anger, and hopelessness. All of the above and all of her life stressors caused Nima's mind to shut down. By this happening only added more burdens for her to bear. Nima became discontented to life itself for a time. But one day, Nima jumped out of the crowded fishbowl and swam out to sea. By this action, her life was never the same. While Nima was coasting along the water shoreline, she heard someone call her name. Nima looked here and there and round, then she saw a bird, and the bird said to her, "Nima, I've been with you all along while you were going through your life's journey. I want you to know that you are loved. You can transform now. Come and be a raven with me." So Nima willingly joined her new friend, the raven. The raven shared with Nima many signs and wonders. Amongst the signs, he gave our wisdom, compassion, knowledge, understanding, and the will to live life. Nima vows to use her new signs carefully and wisely. Today, Nima boldly states that her life has played out the way it was supposed to. She concludes with, "Just knowing that I was not alone on my life's journey somehow helps me to embrace my life and all its new challenges with complete awareness." Needs height. Me. Let me be the girl I was meant to be. Let me cry so that you can hold me. Let me fall so you can comfort me. Let me laugh so you can laugh with me. Let me ask so you can teach me. Let me make mistakes so you can correct me. Let me wander so you can guide me. Let me say I love you. Maybe one day all this will come true. He's height. The song I'd like to sing is Asking for Help.
Thank you, Auntie. At this time, I'd like to call upon Brother Paul and his drum group. They're going to sing a song or two. Thank you.
I just want to, first of all, say a big thank you to Brother Bill, my brother from Sheila, our elected chief, all those that have spoke. Thank my uncle Gary for the prayer and welcoming to the day. I really raise my hands to Auntie Lolly. You know, she's a lady that never grew up speaking or understanding our language. I really raise my hands to her and a lot of our elders, my father. Learning our language at a time in their life that is, to a lot of us, that's far beyond where we should be learning. Auntie Lolly has composed her own songs with our language. You know, I was just going to stand back and sing right away, but having her and listening to her has really uplifted me to really say thank you. She's an inspiration as well as all of our other elders that have started to learn our language here in Nanaimo. You know, I look at today as a day of happiness, not a day of sadness. That pole, we have to give it happiness, so it's going to have that strength to stay there for years and years to come. You know, I say that because I always think of my grandfather every day. My grandfather got to see his younger sister be pushed out of a window by 2 nuns and a priest and die while he was in residential school system. One of my favorite quotes of my grandfather as I sit here today in front of all of you is, I should be a bitter man of how I was treated in the residential school system. But yet this is a man that went to schools on a constant. Right till the day he died, he was always worried about the schools. And I would always say, don't worry, it'll be okay. Oh no, they gotta do this. For those of you that don't know who my grandfather is, he's Wyse-Seward. So, before we sing this last song, we're going to sing the Statwoken, and I've never said this while we've performed or sang this song. But this song, when it was made by a gentleman within our community before contact. And he says, every time you hear this song or you sing this song, I will be here with you. You know, and that's something I think of today. Everybody is here with us, celebrating. You know, my brother has said it when I spoke once before that, you know, that some of us might not have went to residential school system, but it got passed down to us. And it's up to us to break that cycle. I had my 2 grandchildren come up here, and that's something that came to my mind that needs to break. Just as today we need to make it a happy day when we come together on this day every year. I'm going to put the mayor on the spot with the rest of everybody here that today is not only the first time that we're going to do this, but it's going to be an annual thing that we do throughout the community of Nanaimo.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, nephews. Respected guests, Oakland, Nanaimo. I'd like to thank everyone that came out this morning for this day that's necessary, a chapter going forward, to think about our dark chapter and going forward stronger as one. But in closing, I'd like to call forward our chief, my brother. I'd like to call out Chief Mike Wyse to share some final comments. Hi, Sepka.
Hi, Judith. Schwaka. Splitsopten. Simnitz Yaya. Simnitz Gulmoch. Simnitz Ofan. Hi, Sepka. Before we close off this morning, I'd just like to ask my Shomnik once more to come and share a prayer before we carry on our day, to give us that strength to carry forward. If I can call upon my Shomnik Hulquiminum to please share a prayer before we part ways today. Thank you.
In our culture, we due to the sun, so I get everybody to stand and face that way. So we honor the spirit of our ancestors. Oh, pals. Today, I got on the quail. Here, come on, to the books, wait, Amish late, and Miss Dina, put in the quail. Here, go on down. I don't see it all out in the mooks, wait. Miss Dina, here. Cock bullet and the quail. Here, wheel, can you see away, here, can you see how now, Miss Dina. Scream it in. Save the tails. Save the meat and the pork will eat it on the quail. Here for me, the smelching, the swallowing, save the book, sweet, the steamer. Here, half was just eating the titsy water, swallowing. Oh, pals, here for me, say, what talk was it on the quail. Eat the mooks quail. Yeah, I can stay with him. Yeah, you good?
Jewish from Nick. Hulquiminum. With him. Once again, on behalf of Nanaimo, and all of our First Nations communities, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, grandparents. Just want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time, having the patience to sit with us today. I thank all the ones that came forward and shared words of encouragement, words of strength, words of wisdom. As we move forward, I'm very encouraged. It's going to take time, but we're here today to show solidarity, give that strength. So I thank you once again. On behalf of Nanaimo, our elders, our people, raise our hands to each and every one of you.
Thank you, Chief Wyse. On behalf of the Nanaimo people, our elders, our council, Auntie Joan and Kate for organizing such an amazing morning. We'd like to thank everyone that came out to the amazing schedules. We'd like to thank the city, the school district, Sheila, and all the dignitaries that came forward today, other members of council, RDN, trustees as well. But in closing, most of all, our South Plan. You give us the strength, what you've been through, to carry you forward, to give us the medicine to go the right way. So everyone have a safe, thoughtful day. Thank you for being here again. Aysepka.
That one on? Ready on?
Good afternoon, everyone. Aisquel, Aquanasilam Namatanaquel, and Thapatdale Burgos. Good day. It's nice to see everyone here. I'm Dale Burgos. I'm with the school district. I have the pleasure of introducing a couple of groups here from the school district. And we have somebody else coming up to read a poem. But first off, our first guests are students from NDSS, Nanaimo District Secondary Schools Dance Company. And we'll be sharing Lisa's song from their production Missing, co-created by Kelly Barnum and Sarah Kelly. Missing is about the truth regarding Canada's colonial past and shares the story of 6 missing Indigenous women and girls from BC, including Nanaimo's Lisa Marie Young. Lisa's song was composed and performed by local musician Alison Crow in 2001. Dancers for this performance are Gabby Kahn, Bryn Johnson, Annalise Lamb, Ava Padley, Tristan Polzer, and Ava Vandersluis, with drumming by Margot Rakalma, Pauline Billick, Lily McKenzie, and Chris Billick.
take you home across the sea and to your door. Take you home, but I'm so scared that home isn't here anymore. Take you home, hold you in through the night shade and under the stars. Hold you in. Hold you in, hold you in,
Thank you once again to the Nanaimo District Secondary School dancers. I'd now like to introduce Yetta, who will read the words of a Snuneymuxw elder that has passed.
I just want to share that this is a story that was written. There are 7 stories in this book that belong to the Snuneymuxw men. And this is one of the stories, and I made a promise to an elder that if I ever had a chance that I would continue to read his story. This elder went to Keeper Island Indian Residential School. He's no longer with us, but may his words resonate with you. Years ago I asked him, I said, if you're ever in a place of healing, would you give me the honor to help write a story on transformation? And I asked this elder, I said, if you were to choose an animal in the wild, what would it be? And he said, a lone wolf. And your experiences throughout the Indian Residential School, what would you say? And he said, 1,000 tears. And that's the name of his, that's the title of his story. It's called Lone Wolf with 1,000 Tears. He asked not to give his name because he feels that his story belongs to many men that have gone through the residential school and have suffered trauma, had hurt family members, and have tried to come home and make amends. So this is his story. Lone wolf with 1,000 tears. I was running along the shore, wind in my hairy palms, playing in the wet sand, chasing songbirds all over the land. Then they came and caged me up. It was a box made out of cold stone. I was not alone. There were pups from all over the land. At first, we all whispered quietly as to not draw attention from the cloaked animals with white collars. They were unlike us. They said they were going to take the wolf spirit out of us, make us sit, make us walk, make us talk their language. They beat the howl out of me, they did with their strap, made us obey their God, brought all the wolves to their knees, taught us how to starve and taught us how to fight amongst each other, taught us how to hate, taught us how to bait. We learned well, as you can tell. I took the wolf in me and made him alone. He's buried deep inside of me. And when I left that coal stove cave with 100 beds, I had transformed into another creature. I was dark, I was mean, and I was drunk from loneliness. I lived for years in the Stone City. Nothing is soft there, only different cages built to keep my brother wolves and I separated from them. I became old and I became broken, walking with a limp. I would not be kept down. I will not sit for them. I will walk for me. I've had to face those black caves, those dark dreams, but I survived when they said I would die. I may have a shaggy old tail, but today I'm on a path to finding my past, learning to howl, learning to trust, learning not to growl. As old and broken as I am, old wolves can learn to forgive those that caged me up. I still have a long, lonely mountain in front of me, and I can smell the sea. Yeah. May there forever be patience and kindness and understanding and compassion for those that are struggling with addiction. Creator, may we stand beside our fallen brothers and sisters. May we lift them up. May there be light and shed upon their dark path. May we be patient with them. May we be willing to forgive all the trauma that they brought to our families. May you forever tell my fallen brothers and sisters, I want you home. Let's go.
Thank you, Yetta. It's not an accident that the sun has come out during that Snuneymuxw elders poem. Thank you again, Yetta. Before we get started and introduce the next ones here, you're hearing a lot of people say Haichika. And I'm not sure if many of you, and many of you of course would know what Haichika is, but for those that don't, Haichika is thank you. Haichika Siam, thank you friend. You also hear Haisaka, which is thank you for all of you to be here. And so, Haisaka for being here. Up next, I'd like to introduce our next group, our singer-drummer performance by Hulquiminum teacher lead Cameron Park and his students from Ladysmith Intermediate and North Oyster Elementary. First off, let's have Cameron come up and introduce his group.
Siyam Solkwan, Siyam Nasiyaga, Siyam Nishkwalmok, Anthapak Cameron Park, Tneedsanut Sheminas, Eidsanmanapak Douglas, Ejanel Park, Antha Upaital Nasa Sita Ark, Sydney, Australia, Victoria. Hi, Tapka, Kwanzal Skakip Patanakwil. Hi, Tapewit Siam Siyaga. My name is Cameron Park. I live in Hulquiminum, and it is my honor to be here today. I'd like to raise my hands in thanks to the Snuneymuxw, the Snuneymuxw First Nations, for the gift of our time together today. It is my honor to work with the Hulquiminum language in the school district, and it is my absolute pleasure to be here today with children from North Oyster and Ladysmith Intermediate Schools. We're going to share a song with you today that I think fits the occasion very well. I often explain to my students that a classroom is a lot like a canoe. When everyone's pulling in the right direction, good things happen. And when you're not all following the same teachings or working together, that's when people start getting bonked on the heads. I often ask them, who's been in a canoe? And I go, let's try that now. Who's been in a canoe? Who's fallen out of a canoe into the water before? Should be about the same number of hands. Good things happen when we work together. So what I'd like to share with you, what my students would like to share with you today, is the Staminas paddle song. This was created several years ago in the Staminas Education Department, and one of the people involved in it was my respected friend Doug Harris, and I'd like to acknowledge him today. And without further ado, we'd like to share that with you. Now, one small thing in this song, and actually we could use some help from the crowd. In this song, you'll hear us go, hop, and what we need is for people to go, hoo, whenever you hear that sound. Can we try that just once? Hop! Oh, none of ICIs. Very good work, Sheila.
Just some thank yous before we get going here for the day. First off, to the City of Nanaimo, thank you. Thanks to the district staff, and of course our performers. Once again, let's just hear it for the performers. There's some key figures here as well from the district, and I'd just like to share their names. Emily Ricalma, Kari Kemp, Tanis Calder, Amy Blow, Kelly Barnum, Cameron Park, whom we just met, Richard Davis, Michelle Sokolowski, all of our performers and student leaders, district facilities staff who put together the stage and the background that you see behind us, for helping make today a meaningful event. Also, before I just say something else here, we do, if you notice all around you here, there are some tents, so just encouraging all of you to stay for a little bit longer and, over at the Lions Pavilion, and you'll see some tents as well. Please take part. But before we go, and I just want to specifically thank Snuneymuxw for inviting us here, the City of Nanaimo and the school district. We are, on behalf of the district, we're very honored to be a partner in today's event. I myself am very thankful that I get to work, live, and play on this beautiful land that Snuneymuxw has been calling home for generations and generations, so thank you. Haisepka. To the Chief and Council, thank you. We love you, brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles. To our elders who are here today as well. But why we're here today, I just want to say that we're honoring those children and the survivors, those children who didn't return home, and those survivors who are still struggling to this day for what happened in Canada's residential schools. So I raise my hands. I raise my hands to you all. I set this in. Thank you for everyone who came today. The sea of orange is nice to see, and it'll continue on for years to come. Yes. I can't forget, of course, Noel Brown, who, with his own hands, if you can believe that, that was built by someone with their own hands. The love, the caring, and the respect for the land. And that's going to be here for years to come as well. So thank you again to Snuneymuxw. And lastly, just, yes, one more time. And before I go, September 30, it's not a day off. It's a day of reflection. Haisepka.